concern yourself with the sellout streak. He says that's on a week-to-week basis. Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense. You're a struggling program. You have been for multiple years, and it's hard to get people to show up and watch something that hasn't been the greatest of products for multiple years. I mean, you're breathing new life into it with interim coach Mickey Joseph and some of the changes that he's been making. But is it going to be enough to save the sellout streak? You'll find out, week to week. If you win against Indiana, probably the next home game you'll be good. And then if you win that one, maybe the next one. But if you lose that one, who knows about the next week? I mean, it makes sense to consider the sellout streak week to week. And maybe they do go with another red carpet experience.
Yeah. And I hope they do again. It's phenomenal to me how different this is viewed from some people. To you, it's not that big of a deal. To me, I'm thinking like, this is the end of Nebraska football. This is the last thing that you have that connects you to the glory years. But some people would rather say, scrap the glory years. You got to start building up now. So we got some different responses off the text line. John in Cortland said, when the ticket price is incredibly expensive and the product is not good, discretionary dollars are spent elsewhere. Economics 101, kind of what you were saying there. Chase B says the only numbers in the stadium we should care about are the years we won national titles and hope to add to it. I would say we should care about conference championships.
You've got your conference championships, your national titles, your not retired numbers.
You like the academic All-Americans leading the nation?
Hey, that's up there.
I think there's a lot of numbers you should be proud of, not just the championships, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah.
To get back to that
There's
level.
a lot of numbers in that stadium.
Yep.
And everybody only focuses on one.
What's that?
Darn sellout streak.
That's sellout streak. James says let the streak go and move on. So a lot of different opinions there. Again, to me, I think it's really cool to be connected to the 60s because there's no other way that I'm really connected to the 60s.
It is cool.
My bloodline.
It is really cool, and it's really awesome, and it's cool to say that you have a sellout streak that goes back that far and that you have a fan base that is so dedicated that they will show up through thick and thin, through losing seasons and winning seasons. But to make that to build your identity upon it is something that maybe you need to back up a little bit.
It's not that the identity was built upon that. That was like when Nebraska was winning. That was like a cool feature. Like, hey, we're part of it.
Yeah, it was also a thing.
But really, Tom Osborne and these guys are the part of these first round draft picks.
Yeah.
But now that
it was like a secondary thing.
All that other stuff's been taken away.
It's the only thing you got.
It's all you got. So I guess your identity might shift there, but I like it because it does highlight Nebraska. And because sometimes when you say this, and I think people around the nation say, hey, my local fan club is the best fan club in the nation and get people going. When I say that, I'm not just trying to get you guys riled up and to like me. I'm saying it because I believe it. Nebraska football probably has the strongest, at least in college sports, the strongest fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering, the population, and all that stuff that they have to go against. It really is incredible. And to that point, Playfly Sports is the next multimedia rights deal that Nebraska has lined up. Trev Albert said today it should start next week, run through the year 2038. It'll be worth about $20 million per year, $300 million total. So Nebraska making up a little bit from the Bill Moose idea to bring it in-house. And making a lot of money, which maybe changes their idea about what they had been doing going into the season. I don't know if something changed there or not. That's what I just find incredible is because I kind of thought this season was about the buyout. Maybe the season was truly about belief in Scott Frost turning it around. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm the idiot for thinking it was about the bite or if they're the idiot for thinking that Scott Frost was going to truly turn it around because I just kind of felt like I was somewhere in the middle there.
Maybe you think you put somebody's feet to the fire, they might change a little bit.
The whole idea just didn't make any sense to me.
It really didn't.
You had the guy that he got his job by play calling with his offense, and then you take him out of it. There's been rumblings and now reports about kind of the behind the scenes stuff that was going on. I knew without knowing that stuff, and yes, not the whole media knew everything and wrote it down. We didn't get together and have a meeting, so I wasn't informed of all the Scott Frost stuff. Everybody hears rumblings, but you don't report rumblings. You don't know whether to believe rumblings.
Yeah,
because I hear that about everybody. But in any case,
you get your facts straight. Sometimes you can't get your facts straight.
In any case, it didn't seem like he was a CEO from the outside. If any of that stuff was true from beyond the,
definitely was not.
Then he was not a CEO type. It just didn't make sense to me, and that's why I thought this year was about the buyout, but apparently maybe it was about actually believing that Scott Frost, like, I just don't understand, like, 16-31, you got to do something. He was 15-29. It's the same win percentage. Oh, Georgia Southern. That's where that's where you stop it. 15-29 is not enough, but 16-31 is where you will put your foot down.
It was people looking at the schedule, and like I told everybody before, I don't care about the schedule because you still haven't beaten any of those Big Ten West opponents, and you're still playing all of them every single year.
And they still haven't. They're 1-3, and they haven't played anybody except for Northwestern yet.
They
still have to play.
I truly believe it might have been a mixture of both, where it was the buyout and getting it cut in half, but at the same time, it was you put his feet to the fire. You're like, look, this is going to be it. You either turn it around now, or you're going to be done. And they were not expecting a 1-2, 1-3 start, so it kind of accelerated things with 600 yards given up to Georgia Southern in their first year under Clay Helton.
But you do realize that everybody else expected your 1-3 start. Like, Scott Frost was literally on the top of the list of this guy's going to get fired going into the season faster than everybody else. And then it plays out and you act surprised?
I don't think they were expecting the 1-3. I don't think everybody was expecting that. I think people were expecting, maybe a loss to Northwestern because, Pat Fitzgerald is a really good coach, but expecting them to lose to North Dakota and Georgia Southern, I don't think anybody was expecting that. Not even the biggest Frost hater was expecting them to lose to North Dakota or Georgia Southern.
Well, they didn't lose to North Dakota, but it was a closer game. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's not like it. I wasn't flabbergasted. I wasn't blown off the face of the earth that they lost to Georgia Southern. They'd lost to Troy.
I was flabbergasted in the way that they lost. Them losing to Georgia Southern, not completely surprising because of everything that's been going on the last 4 years, but it was still surprising to see Nebraska fall to a Sun Belt opponent that isn't top of the Sun Belt and to give up 600 yards in the process.
I'm just upset because I don't think that this year was given a fair shake. I understand that they put some pieces in place. They're giving, they're giving different guys opportunities to step in for Scott Frost, and Eric Shenander, and I can appreciate that, and I have some hope with it moving forward. But to me, this year you really either had to believe in it, which maybe tells me something about you to begin with, or it was about the sellout or about the buyout money. And it clearly wasn't about the buyout money. Maybe it was somewhere lost along those lines. It started about that way. And then by the time you got there, we got all this money coming in now. And that kind of changes the perspective. That's what I'm hoping for, because this is going to be 6 straight years in all likelihood that Nebraska doesn't make a bowl game.
Yeah.
I mean, and some people would say, well, he had to let Scott Frost fire himself. No, he didn't. Scott Frost fired himself at 3-9, at 15-29.
Yeah.
There's going to be Scott Frost supporters. You might have seen it at a stand in Lincoln. There were still Scott Frost supporters, even at 16-31 with what started. But most of those people are people that are Nebraska people. They will support Nebraska through and through till the next coach comes in, and they'll support that guy. So I'm a little bit upset by the way the whole thing was handled. Maybe Trev felt like he needed to maybe send out, get a better grip on some of the prospects that were out there. Again, then maybe the blame shifts from Trev to the decisions to bring in an AD that wasn't ready. I mean, when you bring an AD, that's usually means there's going to be a change at head coach.
It might have been worries about the coaching market at the time. Maybe you didn't think that you could get anybody worth their salt or anybody that you were truly looking to get in that amount of time during that coaching search season, coaching carousel season with a new AD. So I that could be a part of it. And I still believe the buyout, again, they weren't expecting one win going into the bye week. I mean, at worst, probably 2-2, maybe the 2 wins over the FCS and the group of 5 opponent, and then a loss to Northwestern and a loss to Oklahoma going into the bye week, and then kind of seeing where you're at after Indiana, and then possibly letting them go regardless of the result. But like I said, man, that the loss to Georgia Southern, that was the final straw. And I understand that some people were expecting it, some people weren't surprised by it, but just the fact that you got run all over by a first-year head coach and first year at Georgia Southern, first year in an air raid offense after switching from a triple option for all of those players, like that was it. That you couldn't go on with that.
Well, to me, it might have been enough to just have 3 coordinators in 5 years, 3 offensive coordinators in 5 years, and you're shifting the blame everywhere. It's whatever. It's happening now, and I still think that they can get on the right track. I just feel like I feel like the move should have been made, but
I don't disagree.
But that is what it is. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll break down a little bit more what Trev had to say, because they are going to get a little bit of help from the outside, and we know who those people are now, the search committee.